Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If you want a man to call and text you first, you got to stop doing his job for him. You hear me? Stop chasing, stop double texting. Stop checking your phone every 5 minutes like it owes you an answer. A woman who knows her worth doesn't beg for attention, she attracts it. Confidence is the strongest perfume a woman can wear. When you move like you the prize, a man will recognize he's got to play the game right to win you. Confidence is your magnet, ladies. When I say that, I mean your energy, your posture, the way you talk, walk, and handle yourself. It all sends a message before you ever open your mouth. When a woman carries herself with confidence, she doesn't have to chase anyone because the world naturally moves toward her. That's the power of self-belief. A man can sense confidence the same way you can smell a strong cologne in the room. It lingers, it commands attention, and it makes him wonder, who is she? See, men are drawn to women who know who they are. When you know your worth, you don't beg, you don't chase, and you sure don't settle. You move with a quiet power that says, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not afraid to eat alone if I have to. Now let's get real for a second. Too many women lose their confidence trying to win a man's attention. You start texting first, calling first, trying to prove that you care, thinking that'll make him want you more, but all it really does is flip the energy. The moment you start chasing, you shift from being the prize to being the pursuer, and that's not where your power lives. Confidence means being okay with silence. It means not panicking when he doesn't text you back in 5 minutes. It's trusting that if a man truly wants to reach you, he will. And if he doesn't, that's his loss, not yours. You don't let anxiety run the show. You let peace lead the way. Confidence also shows in your boundaries. You don't let just anyone have access to your time, your body, or your emotions. You choose wisely. You make sure the man who gets your energy has earned it. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. A confident woman knows that attention is cheap, but respect is expensive, and she's not giving discounts. When you set that tone, men feel it. They know they have to step up, speak clearly, and approach you like a queen, not a convenience. That's how you make him call and text you first, by giving him a reason to want your time. And don't mistake confidence for arrogance. True confidence is quiet. It's not loud or showy. It's the peace in your smile, the calm in your tone, the assurance that you don't need validation from anyone. When you look in the mirror and say, I am enough, and truly believe it, that belief radiates. You start walking differently, talking differently, carrying yourself like someone who doesn't need attention to feel valuable. And men notice that energy because it's rare. They sense when a woman is complete with or without them, and that's the woman they want to chase. Confidence is your magnet because it flips the dynamic. You stop asking, why hasn't he called, and start thinking, if he's smart, he'll call. You stop worrying about being liked and start remembering that you're the blessing in any connection. When you embrace that mindset, the right man will always find his way to you, not because you begged him to, but because your confidence drew him in. Men are hunters, not gatherers. And once you understand that truth, you'll stop trying to chase them and start letting them do what they were built to do. A man feels most alive when he's pursuing something he truly wants. That's not just about relationships. It's in his nature, his wiring, his pride. When he wants a job, he goes after it. When he wants success, he grinds for it. And when he wants a woman, he'll find a way to show her. So when you find yourself calling, texting, or always being the one to start the conversation, you're taking away his natural instinct to pursue. You're doing his job for him, and that's why the excitement starts to fade. Men don't value what comes too easy. They value what they have to earn. Think about it like this. When a man has to work for something, he invests in it emotionally. He starts thinking about it, planning around it, and putting energy into it. But if everything's handed to him, there's no emotional investment. That's why when a woman gives too much too soon, her time, her energy, her presence, she unknowingly kills the thrill of the chase. It's not about playing games. It's about letting a man rise to the occasion. When you sit back and hold your standard, he feels that challenge and something inside him wakes up. He starts wondering what he can do to get your attention, how he can prove himself worthy of your energy. That's the moment he starts calling first, texting first, and showing up with intention. See, when a woman understands that men are hunters, she moves differently. She doesn't chase validation because she knows her value is already set. She doesn't over-explain or over-give. She just exists in her power, and that naturally draws the right kind of man in. You don't have to remind him to call. He wants to call. You don't have to drop hints for a text. He wants to text. Because when a man is interested, he'll move mountains to make sure you know it. He doesn't need coaching. He doesn't need convincing. He needs the space to pursue. And when you allow him to do that, he feels like a man fulfilling his purpose. The problem today is that too many women think being assertive means doing everything. But there's a difference between confidence and chasing. Confidence says, I know I'm worth the effort. Chasing says, I'm scared he'll lose interest if I don't try harder. Let him wonder where you are. Let him think about why you're not blowing up his phone. That mystery makes his effort meaningful. When he finally reaches out, it's not out of habit, it's out of genuine interest. A man wants to feel like he earns your attention. He wants to feel that what he has with you is something special, something he worked for. So don't rob him of that. Let him chase. Let him call. Let him text first. Because when he does, it won't just be words. It'll be effort. And effort is the truest sign of desire. Mystery makes you irresistible, ladies. It's the spark that keeps a man coming back for more. The thing that keeps him wondering about you long after the conversation ends. When you give everything away too soon, your thoughts, your schedule, your emotions, your availability, you take away the intrigue that draws him in. A man's curiosity is like a flame. It burns brightest when there's something unknown, something he has to figure out. That's what makes mystery so powerful. When you don't lay all your cards on the table, he has to earn the right to know you on a deeper level, and that process builds attraction. Men are naturally curious creatures. They love a challenge. They enjoy discovering, uncovering, and feeling like they're peeling back layers of who you are. But when a woman makes herself an open book from the start, there's nothing left to explore. You've already told him everything about your past, your fears, your family, your goals, and now he feels like he's already been there. That's when he starts to pull back, not because he doesn't care, but because the excitement of discovery is gone. Mystery is what makes him want to call, text, and keep learning more about you. It's what makes you unforgettable in a world full of people who overshare everything. Mystery doesn't mean you have to play games or act like someone you're not. It simply means knowing when to hold back. You don't have to answer every question right away. You don't have to respond to every text the moment it hits your phone. You don't have to explain where you're going or what you're doing. Leave space for curiosity. Let him wonder. Let him imagine what you might be doing. That space of not knowing is where attraction grows. When a man doesn't have full access to you, he starts to realize how much he values your time and energy, and that's when he starts chasing it. Think of mystery as emotional gravity. The less you reveal, the stronger the pull. It makes him want to earn your attention, to prove himself, to be the one you finally open up to. Every time you reveal a little more of yourself, it should feel like a reward, not a routine. Because when a man feels like he's slowly unlocking your world, it keeps his interest alive. The conversations stay deep. The chemistry stays strong and the connection keeps growing. But if you hand over everything too soon, he has no reason to dig deeper. Mystery also gives you power. It shifts the focus from needing attention to commanding it naturally. You don't chase, you don't explain, you simply let your energy speak for you. You walk in confidence, knowing you're not easily figured out, and that makes you magnetic. A man can't stop thinking about the woman he can't quite read, the one who leaves him guessing, the one who makes him feel like there's always more to discover. That's how you keep him calling, texting, and showing up, because mystery turns attraction into obsession. Set your standards high, because your standards teach people how to treat you. The moment you start accepting less than you deserve, you invite more of the same into your life. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't settle for half-hearted effort, half text, or half love. She sets the tone for how a man approaches her. A man will always rise to the level of a woman's standards if he's truly interested. But if you keep lowering your bar to keep him comfortable, you're not teaching him to love you. You're teaching him how little effort it takes to keep you. When you set your standards high, you're not being difficult, demanding, or hard to please. You're being selective, and that's your power. Men respect what they have to earn. If you make him work for your time, attention, and trust, he values it more. But if you hand over all of that easily, he won't appreciate it because he didn't invest anything to get it. Think about it. When someone saves up for something valuable, they take care of it. But when they get something for free, they treat it carelessly. Relationships work the same way. A man values what he has to work for. That's why you should never apologize for your standards. They protect your value. Too many women confuse interest with effort. Just because a man calls or texts doesn't mean he's investing. Watch how he moves. Does he plan? Does he listen? Does he follow through? That's the real measure. Setting standards means having the courage to say, no, this isn't enough for me, and being okay walking away when you're not being met halfway. You can't expect a man to take you seriously if you keep rewarding inconsistency. When you answer every time he calls, even after he disappears for days, you're teaching him that your attention has no cost. But when you hold your ground, when you stop entertaining half effort, that's when he realizes he has to do better. Having high standards isn't about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's knowing that your time, your energy, and your love are valuable resources, and not everyone deserves access to them. You're not looking for perfection, but you are demanding consistency, honesty, and effort. And let me tell you something. Men notice that. When a woman carries herself with standards, she stands out. She's not chasing, she's not begging, she's not settling. She's simply waiting for the man who can meet her where she stands. And here's the beautiful part. When you raise your standards, you raise your energy. You stop attracting men who are unsure, unavailable, or unready because your energy no longer matches theirs. You start drawing in men who see your worth and want to meet it. So don't ever dim your light to make a man stay. The right one won't be intimidated by your standards. He'll be inspired by them. When you set the bar high, you don't push good men away. You filter out the wrong ones. And that's how you end up with the love you truly deserve. Don't reward inconsistency. Because when you do, you teach a man that he can come and go as he pleases and still have access to you. Every time you respond to a half-hearted text, every time you accept excuses instead of effort, you lower the value of your presence. Men pay attention to what you allow. If you keep forgiving the same behavior, you're not showing love, you're showing tolerance. A man respects what has boundaries, what has limits, what doesn't bend for convenience. If he knows he can disappear for days and come back with a hey, what's up, and you'll still respond like nothing happened, he'll keep doing it. You have to make him understand that your time and your energy are privileges, not guarantees. Consistency is the language of interest. When a man truly wants you, he doesn't leave you confused. He doesn't go missing and come back when it suits him. He's steady, he's intentional, and he follows through on what he says. When you reward inconsistency, you rob him of the opportunity to grow into that kind of man. Because if you keep accepting breadcrumbs, he'll never feel the need to give you the full loaf. When a man knows you'll stick around, no matter how little he gives, there's no motivation for him to change. But when he realizes you're not afraid to walk away from half effort, that's when he either steps up or steps out. And either way, you win. Let's be real. Sometimes inconsistency looks like affection. A man will be hot one day, cold the next. He'll make you feel special, then disappear, leaving you wondering what went wrong. And because you crave that connection, you hang on to the moments he was good, hoping they'll come back. But that's how inconsistency traps you. It feeds on your hope. You have to recognize that someone who truly cares won't make you question their intentions. When you start seeing inconsistency for what it is, a lack of effort, you stop taking it personally. You stop thinking you need to do more to keep him interested, and you start realizing that real interest doesn't need to be chased. When you stop rewarding inconsistency, your silence becomes your strength. You don't argue, you don't beg, you don't demand more. You simply withdraw your energy because men understand absence better than words. When your attention disappears, he feels it. He starts realizing how much peace, warmth, and stability your presence brought into his life. And that's when he has to make a choice to rise to your level or lose access to it completely. Either way, you maintain your self-respect. A woman's power isn't in how much she gives, it's in how much she refuses to tolerate. When you start requiring consistency, you attract men who are ready, serious, and emotionally mature. You stop being an option and start being the priority. So don't reward inconsistency, with your attention. Reward consistency with your presence. Because a man who truly wants you won't make you wonder. He'll make sure you never have to. Real love respects patience, because anything built too fast rarely lasts. A man who truly loves you will take his time to show it, not rush to prove it. Love that's genuine doesn't need to be forced. It grows, it develops, it matures. The problem is that too many people today want instant connection, instant commitment, instant validation. But love isn't something you can microwave. Real love takes time, understanding, and consistency. When you rush it, you risk confusing attention for affection and effort for intention. A man who's serious about you will prove it through patience, by showing up again and again, by staying when things get quiet, by choosing you when there's no pressure to perform. Patience is the test of genuine interest. When a man is patient, it means he values more than just the surface. He's not just there for the thrill, the chase, or the physical. He's there to learn you, to understand you, to build something real. That's the difference between a man who wants you temporarily and one who wants you permanently. The temporary ones rush because they're chasing a feeling. The real ones take their time because they're building a foundation. They know that anything meaningful requires time. Time to grow trust, to earn respect, to prove loyalty. So when a man takes his time, don't mistake it for hesitation. Sometimes it's maturity. Sometimes it's him making sure that when he steps towards you, he does it right. Love that respects patience also understands boundaries. A man who truly loves you won't pressure you, won't rush your emotions, won't make you feel like you owe him something for his attention. He'll respect your pace. He'll wait for your comfort, your clarity, your readiness, because he knows that anything worth having is worth waiting for. That kind of man isn't afraid of time. He uses it to get closer, not to control. He shows you that love isn't a race, it's a rhythm. You don't have to chase it and you don't have to force it. It flows naturally when both people are aligned. Patience in love also means allowing space for growth. No one is perfect, and real connection takes time to unfold. You're both learning each other's triggers, dreams, and flaws. When you rush that process, you skip the parts that build depth. But when you allow love to breathe, you create space for something stronger, something that can handle challenges, misunderstandings, and silence. That's the kind of love that lasts. The kind that doesn't panic when the texting slows down or when life gets busy. It's calm, grounded, and steady. And here's the truth. When you're patient, you attract patience. When you stop demanding love to show up on your timeline, you give it the freedom to show up right. The right man will recognize your patience not as passivity, but as peace. He'll meet it with effort, consistency, and care. Because a man who truly loves you knows that love isn't about how fast he can have you. It's about how deeply he can keep you. Real love respects patience because it understands that time doesn't weaken love. It proves it.